Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Mark. Today I have something that I'm very excited about to share with you. This is a collaboration project that I did with three other content creators for Magic. And these content creators are Mr. Clintastic or Clint Williams Jr., Sims David from Sims MTG. We have Ted Chen from Tap and Sack, and of course yours truly, Mark from Death by Variance, or this channel, the Variance Skills channel. Right. So what did we collaborate on? I think it's pretty clear, right, from from the picture that you're seeing here. We wanted to see how two of the best decks of their respective formats prior to them getting banned would have fared versus each other. And in particular, this is interesting because you know these two decks, right? These decks have existed in both fame and infamy in their respective time periods. On the left, we have the Alrund's Epiphany or the UR Turns deck, the Izzet Turns deck, right? It's a deck that basically tries to hold off the game until it can cast multiple Alrund's Epiphanies and win the game from there. Okay, and on the right, you have the Ignus Cabaretti Revels combo, which is a combo deck in Alchemy, right? That was recently banned. Well, Ignus, this guy, Grinning Ignus was banned in the format. So this is a combo, a mid-rangey combo deck that plays a bunch of creatures but has a combo finish where it can play Ignus with either Burgi or Racketeer boss and basically infinitely replay Ignus. And if you have Cabaretti Rebels in play, that means you can get out any number of creatures of 2 CMC or less, and that would pretty much win you the game. Or if you have some other payoff that's already in play, that would also win you the game, right? So remember that Alchemy is a format that exists because of two things. The first is that it's supposed to quote unquote fix standard, right? So it's supposed to be a place where the powerful stuff in standard are not as powerful. And we saw that when Alrund's Epiphany was nerfed in Alchemy. It basically became unplayable because you can't combo with it anymore. The second reason why Alchemy exists as a format is as an avenue to try a digital-only format, right? So that's why you have digital-only cards that would be impossible to implement on paper. And one of these cards is Cabaretti Rebels. And what we've seen from the Alchemy meta is that these new cards, these digital-only cards, are made to be powerful enough to take over the meta. So on the one hand, you're nerfing these cards in the existing standard format in order to take them out of the picture, or at least weaken them so that other decks in the standard meta, in the standard card pool, will be able to shine. But at the same time, you're introducing these digital-only cards that are also powerful in their own right, powerful enough so that the Alchemy meta becomes all about them and less about the less powerful cards that you had wanted to shine after you nerfed. So that presents an interesting dynamic in the Alchemy format. So basically what we did was we took these two decks and we saw how they're going to match up versus each other. Mr. Fantastic piloted the Alrund's Epiphany deck, while Sims piloted the Cabaretti Revels deck. Right. So before we proceed, I want you to think about which of these two decks you think is going to win, right? Or like, do you think one deck will dominate the other deck, or do you think that they will be a fair matchup? So think about that. Think about that, and then resume the video and see how the games go. Okay? And then let me know afterwards in the comments what you think. Like if your guess at the beginning was how it played out when we play the games, or if it wasn't how it played out, and whether or not your opinion changed afterwards. All right? But this was a very nice exercise, and I would like to do more of these actually. All right? So let's see. Let's go see the games. Okay, so we see we're starting off here with a pretty good hand. Okay, see we're starting here with a pretty good hand, right? This is actually exactly what we want, right? Clint is starting off pretty well here. We have a mulligan for Sims. Okay. Yeah, so since Clint is on the play, right, that means that if there's a turn 3 Rebels, it will be met by divide by 0. That will be a huge tempo loss for the Rebels deck. And this isn't new. I've been doing this, me and other All-Around Epiphany players have been doing this since the beginning of the deck. Right, so this is the C. So Cabaretti Rebels, for whatever 3 drop you have on turn 3, you divide by 0 that, put that back to your hand. And while that's like a remand, right? That's a soft counter. You can do it again next turn. So Clint is thinking about what to do here. So you can do it next turn. You can still cast Cabaret Rebels next turn, right? But then that puts the Epiphany player ahead by a turn, right? It time walks you by a turn, in essence. And turn 3 is so important because turn 4 is where you unexpected windfall, right? And then turn 5 you just need to like push through turn 5, stay alive on turn 5, then turn 6 you go off. So it's very interesting here. I would actually drop the Prismari command here just so I can get a land drop. But this is fine too. This is fine too. So I guess here you can 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. So you need to draw land. That's the problematic part, right? If you had tossed the Prismari command, then you would have been able to cast your lesson there, and then you'll be able to uh, combo off the next turn because you'll be able to play a land. And this is a crucial turn on Sim's part because well I was able to see his screen while he was playing this, and basically next turn he would combo off. So yeah, so essentially if Cabaretti Rebels wasn't countered, this would be the winning turn for Ignus. Because then we'd be able to go off here. The Racketeer boss or the Grizzled Huntmaster would have been cast the previous turn. So here we get to draw our land, and yeah, I guess you throw away. I would throw away an Epiphany. Wow, it's going. I forgot what he threw away here. So yeah, these are good. A Galvanic and a Burn the House Down is fine. Uh, would also have thrown the see so there again it goes back to if you threw away the Prismari command in the first place, then you wouldn't have had to choose there, and you wouldn't have had to worry about whether or not you draw or not draw land. But here you see that the Revels player Sims is at 28 life. I've wondered about this. I've wondered if like Rebels can put a large enough gap in their life to make it to survive the onslaught of these birds. But at least for this game, that's not going to happen. Still have two more turns, right? And he doesn't need to cast Epiphany. Oh, he can though. Yeah, he can, right? So that ends the game. So he has two more turns. All right. So that's our first game. Okay, so this is game two, and we made it so that Sims would go first. So we made it so that Sims would go first here. And this is once more, it's a good hand versus Revels, right? Because the Fading Hope and the Prismari commands, those would be useful. Well, Jawari Disruption is a nice pickup there because that will prevent turn, well, I spoke too soon. That will not prevent turn 3 Revels now because of the Innkeeper. Uh, yeah, I think, yeah, that's a mistake. He shouldn't have used that Fading Hope. And I think we talked about that in the post game, although I don't have that with me in this video. Hopefully we'll be able to recover it. I'm not sure if we'll be able to because Sims recorded that, and yeah, we've had some technical issues in relation to that. But he might still be able to get that back. I'm not hopefully, right? So here I would have divided that by 0. I think that should have been a divide by 0 there. So yeah, and while we were talking about this game in particular, yeah, Clint did say that he had a lot of errors in this game, particularly because he didn't know what the deck was. Like that, when we decided to do this, we didn't really do a lot of our homeworks. In fact, these two decks are unmodified. We were thinking about modifying both of these decks so that they would reflect, well, not both of the decks, but the Epiphany deck in particular. Modifying the Epiphany deck so that it would reflect what the Epiphany deck would have been like if it had alchemy cards. And a lot of things would change. For example, you would want Molten Impacts in the deck, of course, right? You'd probably be replacing these Prismari commands with Molten Impacts just because they're better. They're better removal. They can buy you a lot more time. They're faster, right? But we we did not do our homework. So yeah, so here, and you can see this in this game, right? So Clint actually does have the Alaran's Epiphany in hand. All he needs to do is to buy time, but that's not happening, right? That's not happening because of those misplays. Uh, and then now the Rebels deck, which is essentially a bad mid-range deck if it doesn't go off. What's happening now is exactly that. The Rebels deck is not going off, which means it's just a bad mid-range. Look at all those look at all those bad creatures. That's 3/3s, 1/1s. Those are not very good at all. However, since we have lost a bunch of, wow, right. So I think that if we redo this, the same hands, the same draws, I think that Epiphany takes this match, right? At this point, Epiphany takes this match because it's only one. Again, it's one turn away. It's one turn away. If that Fading Hope wasn't used at the beginning, if we were able to at least get rid of some of these creatures at the beginning, some of these 1 drops, I mean 2 drops, it would have bought enough time, I think. If you divided by 0, even if you just divided by 0 the Inquisitor Captain, that would have bought, I think, more than enough time to win this game. Because we're only one turn behind here, right? The next turn, if you were able to foretell the Alar's Epiphany, next turn you go off. You get double turns, you get to divide by 0, you get to draw more cards, you get to deploy mascot exhibition maybe if you need to, maybe a galvanic mascot exhibition. It would have been, yeah. It would have been it would have been a win for Epiphany. Yeah, but we lost this one. Epiphany loses this one. Oh, we were able to buy one more turn. I forgot about that. Wow. Yeah. So there's just yeah. Without the misplace, this would have been yeah. We were able to do yeah. So yeah. Without the misplace, this would have been Epiphany. I think you'd agree. And you let me know in the comments if you don't agree. But I think if you go back and see what happened in this game from the beginning to the end, I think it's very clear that Epiphany had the game here. Yeah, so this is over. I forgot that Clint was actually Mr. Clintastic was actually able to cast. Not only that, we were able to get one more turn. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like that's what happens when the Rebels deck isn't able to go off. It's just a slow, dirtily mid-range deck, right? No Ignus, no Rebels. It's a bad deck when those two cards are not around. Right. So here we change it up. I think this time we made it so that Clint would go first. Yes. Yeah. So this is a very good. This is a very good hand. Well, it's a good hand. That's a not a very good hand. It's missing a land for the unexpected windfall, but otherwise it's good. Wow. Divided by zero. Excellent. 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 Yeah, it does. So this is an interesting turn, right? And I think that's the correct play. That's the correct play. Yeah. Because you want to unexpected windfall. And you don't really care about yeah, I don't think you care about that. That's fine, I think. Because you have burned down the house, so even if they amass and you have fading hope for the Ignus. So they can't activate the ability, right? They can't activate the ability. This is looking good. I don't want to give any spoilers on who wins this game. Okay, so here's where we're going to go off now, right? Oh, it's possible to divide by zero here, actually. So I didn't know that. It's possible to divide by zero here. Uh, yeah, but I see Clint's point. He can unexpected windfall first before. Yeah, yeah. I think that's an okay issue. It's a bit of a greedy play. But I may have done that myself, honestly. Oh no, I realized the issue here. Yeah, that this was the issue where yeah, because Clint didn't realize the voice of the blessed did what the voice of the blessed does because the voice of the blessed isn't really played anywhere else than aside from this deck. Uh, well, so he didn't realize that the voice of the blessed wouldn't be killable by burn down the house. So like the better play there would have been to uh, save the two fading hopes so that I could bounce voice and another thing. Yeah, so yeah, we got killed by a giant voice of the blessed. Right, so going back to yeah, let me pause. All right, so I think yeah, so we're gonna do one more game. There was one more game after this. So going back to that game, yeah, I think the Alloran's Epiphany deck was still live there, right? If we go back to that game, let's replay. Let's replay it a bit. I may have missed it. I may have missed it. So I wanna see. It was this part, right? Yeah, 'cause this was the crucial turn. Okay, so we got the innkeeper and then the Birgi. All right, so that part is still fine. Although, okay, let me pause. Although you can argue that you can divide by zero there, because if you divide by zero there, then they'll have to. No, it's not a good idea to divide by zero. You can divide by zero. You could have divided by zero the Cabaretti Rebels here. On those triggers, you can divide by zero the Cabaretti Rebels. That's one possible play here that could have bought time, right? That could have bought time. I guess one issue is if you were intent on casting that unexpected windfall, then you may be wanting to integrate that into your play, right? And that's reasonable. But in this particular case, I think you have to give up the turn. You think you have to give up that you're not going to be able to cast unexpected windfall in this turn. In fact, there's probably no reason to because you don't have Alrun's Epiphany yet anyway. So unless you, even if you draw Alrun's Epiphany and Galvanic Iteration, you still need still need a turn, right? So there's no rush here. You can try to just buy yourself some more time by keeping these off the ground. So let's see. So that's one thing. You could have divided by zero the Cabaretti Rebels here, so that they'll have to replay the Cabaret Rebels. And then on your turn, hopefully draw land and burn the house out. If you don't draw land, you still have Fading Hopes, you still have Prismari, you still have Unexpected Windfall. And they would have lost the two treasures, which is big, right? If they lost the two treasures here, with casting Cabaretti Rebels, then that means next turn they'll only have 4 lands, which is, I think, very important. Anyway, so suppose you don't do that, what would have happened? Right. So now is the issue, right? And that made it worse. So yeah, I think this pickle is so difficult. Oh, I see. No, the correct play, what yeah. So yeah, so we can see here is that the correct play is Ignus is going to hit the board. That means that it's going to trigger the two prosperous innkeepers. You Prismari command, kill the Ignus, create a treasure, and then you can bounce the voice of the blessed, and then on your turn, or if you want, create the treasure so that you can definitely cast burn the house down. So Prismari command kills the Ignus, creates treasure, use Fading Hope to bounce the voice of the blessed, and then on your turn burn the house down. I think that's the play that will win, that will not win, but that will buy you the most time and hopefully draw you the cards that you need. Because if we move on a bit later, that we'll know that he was able, right, to get Memory Deluge, and still he would still have had one Divide by Zero and one Fading Hope, which would have delayed the game even more and maybe helped in drawing Alrun's Epiphany and Galvanic Iteration. All right, so let's go to the last match here. Whoops, sorry. There we go. All right, so this one is the last. So we did 4 games, right? So by our count, Rebels has won twice, and Epiphany has won once, right? But based on what we saw, it was clear that Rebels had the upper hand even in those two games. I mean, sorry, uh, Epiphany had the upper hand in those two games that it lost. And if we replayed it without errors, I think Epiphany would have definitely won one and might have won the other. So here we see another very nice divide by zero by turn three, delay you for one turn. And we get the same stuff as last time where we unexpected windfall on turn four. So you can see here what happens when both of these decks are at their best, right? So turn three Rebels is the best that Cabaretti Rebels has to offer. Turn three divide by zero into turn four unexpected windfall is the best place for turn three and turn four of Auron's Epiphany. Right. What do you see here? We see here that it's really just faster. Like Auron's Epiphany, well, no, it's not faster, but it's just Auron's Epiphany is able to delay the game long enough for it to be able to go off much more consistently, very consistently, compared to Rebels. All right, so here, so suppose Rebels had the Ignus here, it would be fine because we have Cathartic Fire. So it wouldn't have been a win. Right, so just the Racketeer boss. I think you know the. Did I spoil the ending? I think like at this point, if you've ever played or played against Alra's Epiphany, you know what's going to happen. Right? Yep. The best thing about Alra's Epiphany is the turn before the last turn, like this turn. It's just so dirty. The things that the deck can do in this one turn, right? That it gets all this mana all for free. It's amazing. But note that we don't have a second copy of Auron's Epiphany. We don't have enough. Yeah, right. We don't have a second copy, and we still don't have a second copy here. Oh, I think that's a misplay. Yeah, and Clint said that in the after game as well. He thought that he had another epiphany. He thought that the deluge was an epiphany or something. So that's why he cast the galvanic iteration, thinking that he did in fact have it, but he did not. Right. So here, this actually means that Rebels gets another turn. Right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 mana. He is missing 1 mana to be able to cast Epiphany with Galvanic Iteration. So instead, he foretells it and then just goes for Burn the House Down, which I think is the correct play at that point. That's what you should do. I was thinking maybe you could, yeah. So Sims just didn't have anything else in hand here. There, he just didn't have anything else. So here we go. Also dirty. Yeah, so we didn't block on Sim's side here because we wanted to survive one more turn. But now it can divide by zero. We didn't know he had divide by zero. So that's it. All right, so those were the games. And so we played 4 best-of-1 games, and as you saw, it was 2-2. Alron's Epiphany got 2 wins. Cabaretti Rebels got 2 wins. But there was a lot of discussion post-game, and like I said, we're missing that footage. Hopefully we get to retrieve it still and show it to you. There's a lot of discussion post-game, and basically the discussion basically revolved around uh, I think everyone, I'm not sure if I'm recalling it correctly, but everyone agreeing that Aron's Epiphany just smashes Cabaretti Rebels. Like if it was allowed to exist in a post-alchemy, in an alchemy world, as it is, as it was in standard, unnerved, it would have just dominated the meta. Nothing that well, not nothing that Cabaretti Rebels could do. It could have been like maybe another deck would have been able to beat it, but nothing that Cabaretti Rebels could do uh, would be good enough to beat Alron's Epiphany consistently. Is the issue. Because Alron's Epiphany not only is a combo deck, it's a control deck, and it is more than capable of stalling the game if your 3-drop does nothing. If your 3-drop is Cabaret Rebels, it does nothing. It gets divided by 0, then you just got time walked. All right, that's it for me. I hope that you enjoyed that as much as we enjoyed preparing it for you. Again, I would like to thank my collaborators for this little project, Mr. Fantastic, Sims, David, Ted Chen from Tap and Sack. You've all been very wonderful in helping me put this together. And yeah, we would like to do more of these. I've included the links to their channels and Facebook pages in the description of this video, so please check those out as well. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. And I'll see you again next time. May the shuffler be with you always.